And when you have a strong community like these behind you, like we had at Jax, it reveals two hidden L's. So I told you about the first three, like, love, loyalty. There's two hidden L's. First, longevity. Because when you have a community behind you like this, you can sustain through things like pandemics and recessions. And then that brings another L, leverage. Leverage for when you go to sell your company, you can command a higher dollar, like we did at Jax when we sold to private equity in 22. So let me demonstrate what this looks like. The green line is Retention Inc. And Retention Inc. had a 95% retention rate of their customers. Then we have the blue line, which is Churn Co. They had an 80% retention rate, only a 15% difference. It doesn't sound like that much, right? But look, by year 2, Retention Inc. was generating $24,000 more in profits, not revenues, but profits, than Churn Co. And look what happens by year 9. They almost double their profits just by retaining that additional 15% of their customers. So when they go to sell, the 5-year valuation looks like this. Churn Co. is at $17 million, while Retention Inc. is at $44 million. So you might be thinking, oh, there's so much I could do with all this extra revenue. Yeah, you could staff up. You could give your team members perks or give them more money. You could give your buildings facelifts or create a new website or put a lot more money into R&D. Yes, you can do all those things, but I don't want you to think about that right now. I want you to think about how you can start and build your recurring revenue program. Now, you might be thinking, well, Jason, I don't have a proxy for this in my industry. Well, neither did these guys. Alaska Airlines, for $69 a month, you get 4 flights nearly free. You have to pay some fees, but it's very cheap. So if you're somewhere where Alaska Airlines flies, like Portland, Seattle, Anchorage, you're going to think of them first because you're a member and you're just going to use them first. You're not even going to look anywhere else. You're locked into them. These guys, Dollar Shave Club, $8 for the starter kit and $10 a month. You get razors delivered right to your door. Stitch Fix. You have a designer that picks out the clothes and accessories they think you'd like. They send them to you in a box. You keep what you want, you send back the rest, and you're only charged for what you keep. And this one is my absolute favorite. There's even a subscription for bamboo toilet paper. And this really shows that you hate the crowds at Costco. And Jack's Car Wash. So our Unlimited Club, like folks, early adopters here, we've had a membership since the late 50s. But does our program look today like it did back then? No, of course not. We've evolved it over the years. And I don't want you to think about what is my program going to look like in 50 or 70 years. I want you to think about what your program is going to look like in 3 or 6 months and then evolve it from there. So here's what all this great stuff did for us. So you see in 2010 there, we had about 1,347 recurring revenue members. And then by 2014, we had 5,000. So we were doing better, but we knew it wasn't good enough. So we applied the like, love, loyalty model. And this is what happened. We got up to 66,450 members. So from 1,300 to 66,000. And this is what it looked like for the money. In 2010, we were bringing in about $25K in recurring revenue each month. Then we got up to 300,000 in 2013. Okay, that's a nice jump, right? But it wasn't good enough. We weren't happy with that. We knew we could do better. So after we applied the model, this is what happened. We started bringing in 1.8 million per month in revenue. Every month, recurring revenue. Who in here wouldn't want to see that kind of growth in their business? I better not see any hands go up. So one way that we did this was we reduced the multiple. Let me explain what the multiple is in our lingo. It's how many times it takes for you to break even. How many car washes do you need to get to pay for your membership? So we started off before 2010, our multiple was 6. You had to come in 6 times to break even. So that was a very small segment of our customers that were willing to pay that much because they wanted to wash a lot. But when we lowered it to 4, you can see it started to make an increase there. And we did some other things too, which we'll talk about next. But then when we lowered it to 3, we really started to see that boost. So we said, why not? Let's do it. Let's go to under 2. Now you only had to come in 2 times, and you're already saving over pay-as-you-go prices. You're saving, I think it was $1 and a penny that you were saving. Then every wash after that was free. Other things we did, we had trial offers. We had second month free, first month half off, and 3 months half off. And this one was my favorite because 3 months gave people time to form a habit. You can't form a habit in just a couple weeks, right, Kelsey? It takes more time for people to form that habit so they stay with it. It becomes part of their identity. So when we did all these things, it allowed us to grow from 216 members to over 6,000 members per location average. It increased our revenue by $13 million a year, which allowed us to expand from 9 to 34 locations in 18 months. So many businesses ask, what can I do to get more customers? But that's not the right question. The right question is, how do I get them to stay? How do I get them to change their habits so they can't live without us? Now, I'm not saying stop trying to get new customers altogether. You still need to keep that funnel filled because for whatever reason, you're going to lose some members that are out of your control. Just change the focus so you're paying more attention to those existing customers. We've all heard, and this is just a reminder, that it's 5 to 10 times more expensive to get a new customer than keep an existing customer. And in some industries, it's even as high as 25 times. So we had to ask ourselves, what's our next move? We had to think several steps ahead. We had to get our team together and get them on board with us so they would feel empowered and to really help us grow these programs. We had to change the lens for which we viewed our world. And mainly we had to focus.